Hey guys, welcome back to Doc Loyal Talks Comics. And in this episode, we're going to talk about the continuation of the 2099 universe. In particular, we're going to talk about Doom 2099. Get down, Pipies. Get down, baby. So this also has a chromium cover, although this is regular, silver, rather than the Spider-Man 2099 book, which was red. And in here, you open again to almost like a market. And you've got Xandra and Wire, who are not cyber criminals, but tech is their life. It's what they do. They're hackers. And so they're trying to sell to, Sergei Giscaro. And Sergei was starting to threaten them until pretty much the secret police came in Latveria. And the secret police are chasing these two because they know that they're trying to help sell state secrets. Well, all of a sudden, their motorbike slows down and you get what appears to be Dr. Doom here. And Doom materializes and says, I've been gone for so long. This place is different. This is not where I've left. What happened to my castle? What happened to the Latveria that I know? And he says, how long have I been away? And before anybody can answer that, then he's confronted by these, secret police, and he just annihilates them. One thing that drew me to this series was the Pat Broderick artwork. I think it's very classic. It's very classy. It brings a style reminiscent of possibly a John Buscema, or just someone with good drafting skills, someone with good composition and panel layout. Pat Broderick is a very underrated artist in my opinion. He did the Doug Wheeler issues of Swamp Thing, which everybody seems to absolutely hate. But I think he provided solid artwork for those stories, even though the stories themselves might not be the greatest. So he hooks up with these two and says, what year is it? And they said, it's 2099. And he says, it's much later than I anticipated. Could I be forgotten in my own land? It's time to make Latveria remember. And so you get to see a character called Tiger Wilde. And Tiger is a corporate shark who is pretty much the main boss, the final boss at Alchemax, the same company that Miguel O'Hara works for, and Tyler Stone. And so in here you get to see the back of the chair of Tiger Wilde, and then you get to see Tyler Stone on this vid screen right here. And he's interrupted by Doom. And Tiger Wilde's assistant says, another Doom robot, shall I take care of this? And so apparently a lot of the Doom bots have come forth to Tiger Wilde stating that they are Victor Von Doom. And he underestimates Doom. Doom grabs him by the throat, and then Tiger Wilde manages to, jujitsu his arm and then knock him away. Because it's now revealed that Tiger Wilde is part cyborg. He's not merely just a human. Now, one thing I will say, the writing by John Francis Moore is just top notch here. I've never been the greatest fan of John Francis Moore. He seemed like one of those people that could write a good 6 or 8 issue story arc, and then he kind of ran out of steam. Kind of like John Arcudi. Nothing against either one of those guys. They just didn't fit my bill of people that would stay on a book for 40, 50, 60 issues. And when I was a younger guy, when I was a kid, I got spoiled by Bagley and Michelini being on Amazing Spider-Man for so long. I got spoiled by, even though I didn't read it, Ostrander and Mandrake on the Spectre. Things like that. You know, used to, you had somebody stay on the title for 6 or 7 or 8 years as writer, as penciler, because they enjoyed what they did. But to get back to my point, one thing I didn't agree with is after Tiger Wilde strikes Doom, he says, "Did you really think that your antiquated armor was enough to succeed where the best corporate soldiers have failed?" And Doom is laying there, and he says, system didn't absorb shock. Power reserves down. Didn't anticipate cyborg." That's not how Doom would speak. That's the only panel in this whole book that I have always thought, even when I was, 12 when I was reading this, I was like, that's not how Doom would speak. He would respond with something like, "You dare strike me?" You know, the insolence that you procreate. You know, something along those lines. And so Tiger Wilde shoots him with a blaster, but Doom's armor is true armor, and so it goes back and comes back on him and blows up his hand. And he says, now you've upset me. Now you've annoyed me. Now you've annoyed me. And he eventually pulls off the mask to reveal a Doom that is not scarred. And Tiger Wilde says, "You are too young to be the 20th century warrior who overthrew Latveria's royal house, and far too pristine. History says that Doom's face was hideously scarred. Allow me to complete this masquerade." And so he puts his hand on his face and burns him. So he eventually gets turned over to the same kids that he was with at the beginning, and they're like, who are you? And he says, "I am Doom. I am who I say I am." And his face is bandaged. And you come to find out that Tiger Wilde's assistant carted him away to these people because she is Zephyro, which was a gypsy clan, which pretty much made Doom and she blood. And she said, "I grew up hearing stories of Latveria's Zephyro-born monarch. This has been passed from generation to generation." And he says, "Gypsy blood bonds us." So he picks another costume, this time more stealth, less armor, and a cape. And he just wants to learn more about who Tiger Wilde is, because Doom is not one of those people that makes the same mistake twice. If he underestimated his opponent the first time, he'll be sure to get him the second time. So they go and insert nanites and all of these different neural enhancers, motor response builders into his cyber neural interface. Okay, so he's got pretty much a mind net over the top of his head, which allows him faster reflexes, faster control. It almost makes him, in my opinion, it would make him kind of like Captain America, where Doom is not a weak character. He's very strong. He's disciplined. He's taking care of himself. He does eat and drink of the finest food and the finest wines, but never to indulgence. He's got something about him, a character about him, a nobility that won't allow Doom to get fat, get old, that sort of thing. He would find a way through his magics, through his gypsy heritage. He would find a way to, find the fountain of youth. But anyway, this is supposed to help make him a better version of himself. He remembers Richards, his family. He says, I am Doom, Doom is dead. And eventually, you see him with this new armor that looks very reminiscent of some armor that was in RoboCop in the comic book series at Marvel. He's got spikes on his arm now. You know, it's very much more a modern 2099 take. And he says, Dr. Doom is dead. Long live Doom. So that's why it's Doom 2099 and not Dr. Doom 2099. So now he's going to go after Tiger Wilde again. He's going to help continue to build this 2099 universe that Joey Cavalieri and Peter David and John Francis Moore and all of these creators had built up over this time and had an idea of where this was going to go. It was a very insular little mini universe. It showed what could happen in 100 years, well, at that point 106 years, in real time. But it also provided that same Marvel flair for storytelling. That's where the idea that Marvel was the house of ideas came from, was the simple fact that they had all the stories they needed, and they had the greatest characters in the world. And if I can get on my soapbox for just a minute, it's the simple fact that people have tried to usurp these characters and make them outlets for their own thought processes, their own speech. Okay? People like Mark Waid will go into certain characters and build up political stories and political ideals that these characters would never have. And that's just one way of saying it, okay? And I'm not singling out Mark Waid. There's a lot of other people that bring their politics and their stories, into their stories. And that's not the place for that. If you want to tell a story like that, don't use these characters. Don't use these icons of Marvel and DC that at this point had 30 years of history. Create your own characters. If you're that good of a writer, if you're that good of a creator, then build something of your own. Okay? Ever since I was 9, the one thing I've always wanted to do is be a comic writer. And slowly but surely I'm inching towards that. And this channel has helped me focus that energy and try to find, like-minded people and give them an idea of what I'm working towards. And it's an original idea. Do I want to have an 8-year run on The Amazing Spider-Man? I would love to. I would love to have an 8-year run. The 9-year-old me that said that I could draw as well as Todd McFarlane would love to have had an 8-year run as writer, penciler, and inker on The Amazing Spider-Man. But now I know the reality of it is that won't happen because my art skills are just not where they need to be. Not only are they not Todd McFarlane level, they may not be Stickman figure level. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to try to upset the apple cart and make Spider-Man something that he's not. That's where I have a problem with Peter and Mary Jane being separated, is they're meant to be together. Those two characters were created by Stan Lee and to a lesser extent John Romita Sr. to be together. So, like I said, just soapbox for a minute, create your own things. If you're as good as you think that you are, then you grab that power and build your own universes. Build universes that Marvel and DC can't touch. But in the end of the day, do what these 2099 books did originally and respect the history of the characters that have come before. Don't build them into something that they're not. All right, guys, well, Piper is not going to let me continue this video, so I hope you've really enjoyed it. Have a great evening, and we will see you guys in the next video. Watch out. Watch out, lady. It's okay. It's all right.